Hello ladies and welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Road, and in today's video we have the good, the bad, and the ugly, which is not me. Not me. Very handsome man I am. Of the Honda Accord 8th generation. Somebody left a comment the other video, said, hey man, I did it on the 7th gen, I think it was, 7th or 6th gen Accord, and they wanted to see one on the 8th gen. They're like, I have an 8th gen, you should make one on the 8th gen. And that's usually how I do these good, bad, and ugly. So if you want to see a car, make sure you leave a comment, because otherwise I probably won't ever get to it. There's millions of cars out there, so like I'm not gonna just randomly pick the car that you want. So just make sure you leave a comment. That's not me trying to be like, leave a comment, man. No, I don't ever ask for like likes or subscribes or comments or anything like that. But if you want to see the car, leave a comment. Without further ado, let's go right into the video though. Okay, so the 8th generation Hyundai Accord. It was made from the years 2007 to 2012, and obviously that means it's the 8th generation of the Accord. There is currently 11, I think, generations, and the 11th gen is very ugly. For the trim levels, there's a lot of them, so get ready. Put on them big boy trousers, partner, because there's quite a bit. The LX and the LXP both came with the same motor, a 2.4 liter inline 4, making 177 horsepower. The EX, EXL, and the LXS also came with a 2.4 liter inline 4, but now it made 190 horsepower. And finally, the EX V6 and EXL V6 both come with a 3.5 liter V6, making 271 horsepower. It's quite obvious what they were doing there. If you want to go for performance, you buy the V6. If you want to just have the best reliability, best gas mileage possible, just the best daily driver, you go for the inline 4. But obviously, we as car guys understand that that motor is a K series, it's K24, and so even if you do get the inline 4, you could very easily get some power out of that and have a lot of fun as well. For the body styles for this car, was offered as a sedan, a coupe, and a wagon, but there's not a lot of wagons out there, but they are baller, dude. These coupes, woo, Nelly. Now the 8th gen Accord wagons, give me them. For the drivetrains, it's front wheel drive only. Obviously, no all wheel drive models for them, no rear wheel drive models for them. For the transmissions, it was available as an automatic and a manual. God bless it. For the price, it ranges. Obviously, it's a used car. It's anywhere from, you can find one as low as like $3,000 all the way up to like $10,000. You can find one for $15,000. You can find one for $20,000. It all depends on the condition and the mileage. I would say the average is right around 5K though. 5 to 7K, I would say, is the average. But yeah, there's prices vary significantly. For the reliability and the gas mileage, the car is extremely reliable no matter which engine you get. The V6 is one of the most reliable V6s out there, and the inline 4 is a Honda inline 4. You're not going to get much better than that. And for the gas mileage, the V6 gets a 25 mile per gallon combined. That's very impressive, and the inline 4 is only higher than that. It's around 27 miles per gallon combined. So those are both very good numbers, obviously. Very good. Good job, Honda. But now let's get into the aftermarket side of things. What do people usually do when they modify these cars, Mark? Well, for drifting, it's obviously never seen because it's a front wheel drive car. People can't drift front wheel drive cars. I know some people in the comments are going to be like, you can drift a front wheel drive car. It's very hard. Most people are just going to go with a rear wheel drive car. For rally / off-road, again, it's not seen, but imagine how cool that would be though. Like imagine a rally Accord, that would be sick as hell. For street racing, it's not seen that often, even though it does come with a K series. You would think it would be seen, you know, a lot just because of the K series alone, but people would rather just build a Civic or an Integra because it is just a better platform to build. They're just so much lighter than this Accord. So for track racing, this one kind of makes sense why the car is not seen here. Like I just said, they are heavy compared to similar Hondas that you might take track racing. If you think about it this way, like, is the 8th gen Accord a cool car? Absolutely. Does it have a great motor? Absolutely. Can it be something fast as hell? Absolutely. But can you buy that exact same package but in a much lighter body for the exact same amount of money by Honda? Absolutely. The Integra and Civic is a perfect example of that. So that's usually what people kind of go with. But for the stance / show route, for people that slamming the cars on the nutsack and putting negative 7,000 degrees of camber on them, this car is very popular for that. The amount of 8th gens that I see slammed on the ground is insane. So many people lower these things. So many people like to, because they kind of go for like a VIP type build, and that's honestly makes sense. It's a big body car, kind of. It's not the smallest car out there. So stance / show is definitely its most popular. I would say second is probably street racing, because who doesn't like street racing? All right, but now we are into the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the way that this works, in case you're new to the channel, is first I go over the good, which are things that are just handy dandy mandy great about the automobile that we are currently talking about. Then I go over the bad, which are not actually things that are bad. I say this in every one of the good, bad, and uglies, and people do not listen. The bad are not things that I actually am saying are bad things about the car. It's just a fun fun play on words, the good, the bad, and the ugly. The bad is just the middle ground, though. What that means is it's just things that, like, if it bothers you, then it's a problem. If it doesn't bother you, then it's not a problem. It's just things that I need to mention, you know. And then the ugly are usually those are the things that are actual problems. Those are the bad things about the car. But without further ado, let's go right into the good. And the first thing for the good is the price for both the car and the parts for it is incredibly low. I mean, the entry point for this car is low. It's a very, very cheap, relatively new car too, and parts for it are even cheaper. The parts for any Honda is pretty cheap, but Accords are one of the best selling models from Honda, so their parts are stupidly cheap. For aftermarket support is another good thing. Even if you do want to buy some parts for it that aren't stock parts, you know, and go to do fast, I'm not gonna recommend doing that, but you should do that. Then it's gonna be cheap, because there's tons of it out there. There's so many. I mean, it obviously depends. If you want to go with the more expensive stuff, you'll get some more performance out of it, but there's a price for everybody because there's so much aftermarket support. Same thing with the community. That's another good thing part about this car. The community is absolutely massive. You're not going to find any shortage of Honda guys that want to help you. Next thing for the good is the space. These are big cars, man, especially if you get the wagon. These things have especially trunk space, head space, leg space, you name it. Space is the universe space. It's big in this car. Next for the good is the reliability. It's a Honda. We talked about this earlier, but yeah, the reliability is incredible in these cars. You're not going to find much better. I mean, you can find like a diesel that might be better, or like a Camry, but besides that, you're not getting much better. Next is the comfort. They're surprisingly comfortable for a Honda Accord. Now, obviously, this kind of depends on the person you are. If you are used to like Mercedes levels of comfort, then yeah, this is not going to be like a comfortable car to you, and you'll probably be like, this is a bad thing. But I feel like most people would be surprised at the amount of comfort that an 8th gen Accord does offer. Next is the car has a manual option. Not a lot of cars have that anymore, and I know these aren't like new cars per se, but it's still cool to see that, man. It makes me happy. Next is they're good on gas. We talked about that earlier, but again, who doesn't like saving some moolah every now and then? Next is the power out of the gate, actually, on the V6. 270 horsepower is no slouch, man. That is no slouch, especially for a car that you could very easily get away with daily driving. As a matter of fact, it is a daily driver, and it has the V6. Making 270 horsepower, very good. And it's a J30, so it's not J35, J30, I don't know. But it's not hard to make even more power out of that if you want to. Next is the technology in the inside is not too over the top. If you're a car guy and like a real car guy, chances are you probably like the older, more analog style interior, right? You don't like the big screens, because who does it? So that's for people not like us. You know, we're not the people trying to buy the Mercedes with the flat screen TVs. We like a little bit of technology, but not too crazy. And that's kind of how it is with the 8th gen. Does it have good tech in it? Yeah. But is it over the top? Absolutely not. It still feels like you're sitting in a car, not a movie theater. And finally, for the good is the car is a mechanic's dream. These things are super easy to work on. If you're new to cars, it's a good idea for you to get started learning how to work on something like a Honda Accord, because they're just that easy. I mean, I have an Integra, and dude, it is actually Legos with Hondas. It's so easy. All right, now we are into the bad, and I want to mention it again, even though I just mentioned it earlier, because again, people don't like to listen. These are not things that are actually bad about the car. They are just things I wanted to bring up, and you can decide whether or not they affect you or not. First up is the exhaust. I do this for every single one of the cars in the good, bad, and uglies. I put the exhaust first in the bad tier to let you decide on whether or not you think it sounds good. Here's a clip. Next is the car is kind of heavy. It's heavy for a tuner. I mean, it kind of depends on what you're looking for, but the Accord has always been slightly heavier than a Civic, and for like if you're looking for like a tuner Honda, again, I mentioned this earlier, but if you're looking for like a tuner Honda, really is kind of no point in going with this over the Civic, because it is just slightly heavier. Next is the car is front wheel drive only. I know that if you're buying a Honda, you know it's going to be front wheel drive and you're fine with that, but we like rear-wheel drive, man. We're car guys. Some people like some rear-wheel drive stuff. Next is the inline 4 power out of the gate. It's a K series, okay? It can make a lot of power. We all know that. But out of the gate, 190 horsepower is definitely not anything to write home about, so I wanted to mention that. Next is the looks of the car. That's 100% up to you. It's all personal opinion. Do you like the looks of it? Do you not? I personally love the looks of the coupe, but not the biggest fan of the looks of the sedan. But it's up to you. I mean, that's all your opinion. Apparently, another bad point is apparently the AC could work a little bit better. I read on a lot of forums that the AC tends to not really cool you down that much when the temperatures are over like 90 degrees and you got the black interior, which makes sense. It's not, you know, again, it's not a Mercedes level of comfort in the car. As long as it has AC, I mean, that's good enough for me. I don't have AC and never had AC in all 3 of my cars, so if it had AC, I'd be happy. Next is the car does tend to have some cheaper parts for obvious reasons. The seats may not fit exactly how you like. They may, you know, you may not have the best steering wheel or whatever, but it's a Honda. Why are you expecting Mercedes levels interior on a Honda? It's not going to be that way. Next is the brake wear. Apparently these cars do tend to go through brakes faster than your average car. Maybe because of the weight, but it also just maybe because they cheaped out a little bit on the brakes. Who knows? It really isn't that big of a deal though. I mean, it's not like they're going through like you have to like swap your brakes out every 2,000 miles. Like it's just slightly faster than you would expect it to be. Next is the sun visors tend to sag. God, that was like a tongue twister. The sun visors tend to sag at higher mileage. This is just something that's gonna happen. I mean, come on, it is not anything. If you're buying a 200,000 mile Honda and you're worried that the sun visors are sagging, that's your biggest concern. That should show you how reliable these cars are, dude. It's a freaking sun visor. That's it. Next is to be careful when picking one up. The owners usually don't really take care of these cars. This can be said for a lot of cars out there, but specifically cars that aren't really enthusiast cars. And Honda Accords have never really been the biggest enthusiast car. I mean, enthusiasts like them, but so do normal people. And so since normal people own them, they like to beat them up. They don't like to beat them up, but they just don't like to take care of them. It's pretty much the story there. So just be careful when going to look at them. Make sure that you're not buying something that's been driven by, I don't know, Maddie from freaking 16-year-old Maddie just got her license. I don't know where I was going for there. Next, so finally for the bad is the inline four does tend to burn some oil. Literally every single car I've owned has burnt oil. It's not that big of a deal to me anymore, but I know to some people out there that they might not like that. That might turn them off from the car. Personally, yeah, it does cost a little bit more money. Yeah, you do have to be a little bit more stressed out and just keep your eye on the oil levels every once in a while. But to me, again, I've been doing it since I was 18. It doesn't really matter to me, but that's up to you. All right, but now we're into the ugly, and the actual only thing that I could come up with that's a serious problem on this car that like would be annoying to deal with and it's going to cost you money would be something minor for something like a BMW's good, bad, and ugly, and it's called the VTC actuator. They tend to go bad a lot, which is like a $200 fix, but can be kind of time consuming. So take that how you want it. I mean, that's the only thing I could find that could fit into the ugly tier on this car is that the VTC actuator goes out. And again, like I said, that would be something that would be in the bad tier for something like a BMW. Like it's not even that big of a deal. But I guess for a Honda Accord, I had to put something in the ugly. I couldn't just say there's nothing. So the VTC actuator is the thing that's here. $200 fix, takes a couple hours out of your day, but it's a problem on these cars. So for my final thoughts, do I think you should buy them depending on the current situation that you're in? Well, if you are looking for just a daily driver and you're not a car guy, you're just a regular person, you don't care if the car is super cool, super fast, whatever, and you just want a daily, that's it. Absolutely, this is one of the best options in the world right now, in my opinion. This, the 8th gen Civic, Camrys, obviously, trucks, it depends on the truck though. I mean, there's a lot of trucks out there. Obviously, something like a Ford Ranger though would be something that I would think of. But either way, yes, it is a good option. A great option for you if you're just looking for a daily. If you're a car guy and you're looking for a daily, obviously we're a little bit different from regular people. When we buy a daily driver, even though we tell ourselves it's a daily driver, usually our daily drivers are also slightly fun. So again, it is an incredible option. But if you're a car guy just looking for a fun daily, get the V6. You'll thank me later. Because chances are, if you're a car guy looking for a daily, you don't want to build it, right? You don't want to turn it into something crazy. So there's no point in getting the K series. So just go with the V6 out of the box and have the fun, stock, and no, you don't have to worry about modifying it to be fun. For the Sunday cruiser folks looking for something that you can take out on the weekends with your wife, I mean, it's a Honda sedan, so I would personally say no to this one. I think there are a lot of better options for you to keep in a garage all week, and then it rewards yourself with driving on the weekends only. So I would say no. This is a daily driver, but you can do what you want. For race car / project car people looking for something to build up and have some fun with, yes please. These cars may be slightly heavier than their Civic counterparts, and they may not have the best lap times compared to the RSXs, but weight reduction is a thing, and the motors that they come with from factory reward every single mod that you do to them. K-Series, J-Series are both such good motors. They're so fun to build. Like, well, I haven't built them, but they're probably so fun to build. They're super iconic Honda motors. Please, somebody start to modify these things because they're so cool. It's so much cooler than same with the 8th gen Civics though. Like, I feel like people are just sleeping on the late 2000s Hondas, man. It blows me away. But yeah, the 8th gen Accords, yes. For a race car or a project car, yes, I think it is a good deal. They're super cheap and they have great motors in them. Are they slightly heavier than the Civics? Yes, but Civics are incredible project cars, okay? So just because they're not as good as like the best project cars doesn't mean that they're not good project cars. They're still good. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like these. Let me know what other videos you'd like to see. Let me know what other good, bad, and uglies you'd like to see. I'm thinking about doing one on the Nissan 300ZX next because somebody commented that, and I was like, I kind of want to do that, but at the same time, I feel like cars like that, like 300ZX 90s cars, are just not going to do good. Even though it's weird because I recommend those cars a lot. I talk about them a lot in my videos, and we all love those cars. It's just like, I feel like the videos that get the most views on my channel, if you look at like the most viewed videos, are always videos about like cars that like just regular people want to buy. Even though we're car guys and we like the cool cars, for some reason, it's usually the videos of just like regular people enjoy. I don't know why, but either way, I am thinking about doing the 300ZX. Let me know what other cars you want to see though. If you recommend something, I'll get on it. Without further ado, this is the outro. Without further ado, good night. Without further ado, I said it again. Das Vidania, and have a nice night. Jesus.